Yay! I'm back. Been a couple days. Feels like it's been ages. But it hasn't been ages, it's just been a couple days. So, my name is Earl, and this is the Tabletop Baseball channel. And you may say to yourself, Earl, I thought I watched him yesterday, and he didn't sound anywhere near as northeastern or whatever you want to call it. He sounded a little more, had a little bit more of a drawl. And the reason why is that there are two of us who are on this channel. The guy who originated this channel, Earl Shamblin, does a number of projects of his own, including the League of Dominance, or Domination, one or the other. I always get them confused. But anyway, he's got a league going on there, and he does some other things, the 66ers and all sorts of types of good, fun stuff like that. So we've got that, and then you've got me. I go by the nickname Tenacious because I ran a league on my own Strat channel for a while that was called the Tenacious Baseball League 10 because there were 10 teams in it. It's kind of goofy, but that's okay. I'll admit it's kind of goofy, but that's kind of what we're about in nerdy baseball stat world, is kind of the sort of the strange and maybe not so mainstream. So anyway, so what I have going on right now, if you can read the title, it's kind of a strange string of numbers and letters, but what it means is that I am doing a 2008 Philadelphia Phillies replay, which 2008 was their championship season. It's been a couple days since I have put on a game. Where we left off most recently was in the midst of their series against the Mets, the second series of the season, which this is still in April. The date for this game is April 19th, 2008. The Phillies were the losers of this game. They lost the first two in real life. They lost the first one in this simulation, or this replay. They lost that game, I believe, 3-0. Right. Yeah, sorry. I was looking at my score sheet. I'm like, it says 9-2 Phillies. I'm like, I don't remember that. And it's because I was looking at the left on base. So it was 3-0 Mets. They were the victors in that game. And so they're going to continue this series now. Like I said, the Mets also win this game. They win 4-2. Oliver Perez is starting for New York, another lefty. The Phillies had Johan Santana in their previous game, another lefty, and it is no secret that the Phillies tend to be prone to rough days against left-handers, so that's what makes the Mets an exceptionally tough matchup for them in this 2008 season, because, with Utley and Howard being two of the better bats in their lineup, those two guys can be thwarted a bit by a left-handed pitcher, so you still have guys like Pat Burrell and Jason Worth in the lineup, but they don't, at least so far, they haven't gotten as much done as you would like. Although, Pat Burrell, he's got, I think, 7 home runs, so it's not like he's fallen short, but, it's just the Mets seem to be a particularly difficult matchup. Now, again, we are not using injuries as shown on the Stratomatic cards. Okay, maybe I didn't mention, this is using Stratomatic Baseball. Super advanced rules, that's what the SADV at the end means, super advanced. So we're going to be using super advanced rules. We do not use injuries, so the injuries are, because this is an abs played replay, the lineups are exactly as they used in real life. We do depart from substitutions and pitching changes and such, because situations will be different in this versus real life. You may be willing to use Oliver Perez till the 9th inning, whereas in this game, give me a moment while I bring up the particulars of this game so I can be, and this is a day game for the record. Perez, he pitched He pitched 5 2/3, and he didn't give up any runs. But we may take him a little deeper in the game. We'll see. Depends on whether the Phillies get some rolls going in their favor. So I'm going to turn this thing over so you guys don't have to look at me anymore. That in itself should get a thumbs up, I would think, but that is entirely up to you guys. Oh, looky there. I have my dice still in there. We'll just reuse them even though they weren't such a happy set of dice for the Phillies last time. We will continue because that's just what we're going to do. So, as I said, Jamie Moyer is the pitcher for the Phillies tonight, a lefty in his own right. The Phillies have back-to-back lefties in their rotation in 2008, Hamels and Moyer. Tend to go back-to-back. Myers is their ace. Fourth is usually Kyle Kendrick, and fifth, Adam Eaton. Although I think they got flopped here in the run-up to this game. And so I'm going to probably talk through some other things while we're going on here, because it's been a couple days, have some things to talk about. But let's go, well, first because it is a day game here in South Philly, down on Broad and Pattison. We're going to, in April, we're going to give it a good old roll and it's a 19, so it is going to be bad conditions. We'll see who that favors. So it's going to be 8 and 5. Well, it's definitely going to favor the pitchers. I'll give you that much. This might help the Phillies a little bit. We'll see. They do need offense, but it could help Moyer kind of keep his act together here. So we'll see. This is actually the same lineup for the Mets as the game before. Reyes, Church, Wright, Beltran, Delgado, Pagan, Schneider, Castillo, and, well, not quite exactly the same, Perez pitching. Not the same rating as far as speed as what is on pitcher's hitting card number 1, which is what Perez used. Both these guys are number 1 pitcher's hitting card, but it's a 13, and he also has a steal rating, so we may try to take advantage of that, depending on... So, and then for the pitchers, let's just go through here for a second. The Phillies have... Well, might as well just talk about it here. For the Phillies, their lineup: Taguchi, Worth, Utley, Howard, Burrell, Feliz, Coast, Bruntlett, Moyer. I believe this is because it's a day game after a night game that they're using Coast. It didn't affect the Mets. They still use Schneider, but Coast has a +2 arm, and with Moyer having a 0 hold rating, the Mets will get a +2 advantage on the base paths, whereas with Perez, he has a -1 hold, and you add that with Schneider's -1, and the Phillies will have a -2 handicap on the base paths. So we have our ballpark effects. We have our base running, stealing factors, and we are ready to go. So, Jose Reyes, and we're going to be looking off the left side of the card throughout this the early parts of this game with Moyer and Perez pitching. So, Jose Reyes leading off, 5'10". He's batting from the right side, 5'10". That's a ballpark single. So, batting from the right, it's a 1 to 5 chance. So, it's a 10. That'll be a line out to Bruntlett. And that'll be 1. Phillies still without Shane Victorino and without Jimmy Rollins. Victorino's on the DL. And Jimmy Rollins is still day-to-day. He eventually goes on the DL before he comes back to full-time duty. So he can pinch hit in this game. Ryan Church, 2-8 and 2-8, and he swings and misses at that one. That's a strikeout for Jamie Moyer, first on the day. 2 away, David Wright. The right-hander, 3-4. And he'll draw a 2-out walk. You can bet he's going to try to get on the move here. Just a second. I see I have a couple of comments I want to see. Good day, Dave S. from up there in the upper climbs of just north of our border there. My fellow Bills fan. Hope you're waiting for the NFL draft a bit there. I am for sure. Although, sounds like it isn't a week without some kind of Bills drama. So, all right. So I'm just putting this down here so that we can see in case we hit it. I meant to put that down. So, David Wright, he needs a 7 to get a good lead. He's definitely going to be on the move here, trying to get this good lead. And it's a 6, so he will not. You add the 2 D6s that are colored together, and if they total that number in front of the slash, he has to steal. If it were a number, if there were a number after the slash and it totaled that number, or one of the numbers after the slash before the parentheses, he would automatically be out. So, and then for anybody who's watching for the first time, this is, if he does get that good lead, what that means, he gets a good jump and he must steal once he gets the good jump. This is the factor that's for the runner. You then add the pitcher-catcher factor, which is, as we figured before, a +2. So that would take him up to a 19, and then he has to be held on because the defense is holding him on. You subtract 2 from that number. If you have to use this number, it's -4. But -2, so that negates the +2 over there. So it's going to be a 1 to 17 chance. If he had a 7, he only has a 6. So he would have to run off of this guy, which, again, if you do this math, it's 6 + 2 is 8. But then you subtract 4, makes it a 1 to 4 chance, and it's not a very tempting roll with 2 outs. So, Carlos Beltran, 3-8 against a lefty, and that is trouble. That's going to hit the gap, and just a matter of whether they can corral it in time to bring it in and hold him to a single. And they do not. He's going to advance to second, and that will bring up second and third with 2 down, and the Mets are in business here. But they still need one more hit, and this time from their... let's see, what do they have next? Angel Pagan. It's tempting to put Delgado on and pitch to Pagan, but we're not gonna do that. We're gonna go with hoping that 3 column comes up here for the Phillies. Second and third, 2 outs, and it does. 3-6, and that's a strikeout. Big strikeout, second one for Moyer, and that will retire the side. No runs for the Mets, and so Moyer escapes any further damage there. Well, I will say, as far as the Bills go there, Dave S., the thing about it is, if you were hanging on to... So the report that was out there today is that there's a scout that's saying that their entire scouting staff is going to be fired or something like that after this draft. And it's like, what have they produced? There's not a whole lot of great finds that they've had from what I've seen. They haven't been able to produce a quarterback. They haven't been able to produce any like impactful players that have got them to a playoff spot. So, heck, bring it on. Not that hi there, Larry. So, we don't need those cards. We need the Phillies cards. So, Perez ready to roll against So Taguchi. As you can see, So Taguchi probably not a good choice to lead off against lefties, but Charlie Manuel did not have the benefit of looking at this card to know that So Taguchi was going to have a pretty crappy year against lefties. Not much better against righties either, as you can see. Not even close to a 300 on-base percentage. Why he wasn't using Worth in this role Who knows? But anyway, I guess that's... I mean, we never held Uncle Charlie in much... we thought he was a pretty lousy manager for the most part. 1-7. That's a ground ball to short. Jose Reyes throws to first, and that's the first out. Jason Worth. And comparatively speaking, now granted, I mean 363 on base, pretty good. A lot of that is against righties. A lot of walks there. Not so much against lefties, but you know, you see these. He's got some home run pop here. You get into that 2 column. That's a 1-7 again. But this is going to be a walk, and so with 1 out, a walk. Of course, that would have been if you'd flipped Taguchi and Worth, that'd be a double play. But with 1 out, so now you got -2 on the running aspect, or the hold aspect for the Mets with Perez and Schneider. So that makes Worth, who is a 19, good lead speed. Subtract 2 and then subtract another 2. That makes it a 1-15. You have to figure this out ahead of time, lest you roll that number and you haven't. You have to steal if this comes up. And so if you do your calculations and you realize it's like a 1-9 with nobody out, and you have to steal, you're probably like wondering why you went through that trouble. So you need a 7 and you get a 4, so no good lead. And so with a -2, that makes it -6 on the second number. And so 1-6 is not really much of a chance here. They're going to take the chances with Utley against the lefty. 2-7, could have used that. Well, Worth, that would have been a strikeout, I guess. 2-7 and another walk. So that moves the runner up regardless. That's going to be first and second with 1 away. Yeah, Tomey was Manuel's boy, and it's unfortunate that Tomey wasn't in town when they won. But then again, Howard wouldn't have had a spot on the field if they hadn't moved on from Jim. So, gentleman Jim. Anyway, Ryan Howard now. This is another chance for a double play. One thing we could do here is try to get that lead. Of course, then it's still -2, so that's 1-8. Well, 1-8, still kind of, it's not good odds. Let's just go ahead. 2-7. Wow, we're getting 2-7 a lot here, and 1-7. 2-7, and that is a ground ball to short. That is the double play ball. Probably should have tried some thievery there with the, a double steal. 6-4-3. That's going to end the inning. So, no runs for the Phillies. No hits. High baseball demos. Yeah, I mean, and that's where a progressive thinker might say to themselves, you know what, I'm willing to take that chance with Worth getting over there, because the chance of Howard grounding into that is decent. So, Moyer back out there. And I just dropped something. All right. Pagan going to lead off the inning here. 1-9. Strikes out. A lot of hitter's card action here so far. It hasn't really spelled the much for either team. Brian Schneider. That's a 5-10 against a lefty. If you can see there, that's a ballpark single chance. That's the second 5-10 we've had. For a lefty, Schneider a lefty, that's a 1-8. A little bit better than for a right-hander, but that's still a 15. That's going to be a line out to Utley for the second out. We mentioned that to Howard when we watched him in Double-A Reading, what he was going to do with Thome in his way. Yeah. Well, he probably said, Thome's going to have to get out of there, then I'm going to have to hit a bunch of home runs, I'm going to get a good contract, then I'm going to tear an Achilles so that I'm never the same. That's probably exactly what he answered you, I'm guessing. Luis Castillo, 3-12. And Moyer beans him. That's going to turn the lineup over. Let's see. So, you could get a 1-19 chance here if we get a 4 or 5 with Castillo. We're going to try to get that lead. And it's a 4, so he does get a good lead. It's 1-19. It's probably not even worth Coast throwing down. But he doesn't have a chance at a passed ball. So, if a 20 comes up, he is dead to rights. It's a 10, so it is a stolen base. But with a number 1 pitcher's card, I started watching your video when Earl interrupted. So, here we go. Perez against Moyer. Moyer's got to hope that he doesn't walk. He did get the... he was fortunate enough to get the hitter's card roll here. 3-7. Ground ball to second base. Utley throws to first, and that hit by pitch and stolen base was harmless. But it does turn the lineup over, which can lead to more offense, so we'll see what happens. But I remember the days when Atlanta would walk every number 8 hitter if there was a guy on base, just to scoot that around. I'm sure. I'm just kidding. Ryan Howard, he always was a pretty mild-mannered kind of guy. It's unfortunate the way that it had to end in Philly. It's just a kind of a... I mean, the part where they win the World Series and go to 2 in a row and have a really nice run of 3 to 4 or maybe even 5 years of success is great. But then sort of the last 2 or 3 years when he just wasn't the same, that's where it really became unfortunate. Pat Burrell going to lead off here against Perez, 4-3 against a righty. It's going to be grounded back to the pitcher, and I forgot to change the pitcher on this defense card here. He is a 3-0. Of course, we have the pitcher card right in front of us, so not the end of the world. So a 3-0. No chance of an error. And with a 15, I think that's just going to be just fine, and it is. So first out is a grounder back to Perez. Makes easy work of that. With an E0, we don't even have to look at the E chart. Pedro Feliz. 3-5. And that's a single. Feliz gets the first hit of the game for the Phillies as he pounds one past a diving Reyes for single. Yeah, baseball demos. David, I enjoy this History Maker baseball. It's... my next project, I've been toying with the idea, going to it. I like the idea of it telling a story more, but I don't know if it's going to have the same interest. So I may have to do a side project with it where I'm doing the same kind of season. So we'll see. I'm trying to decide. So Chris Coast, Feliz can't steal. They're not going to hold him on. That's a 6-11 against a righty. And another inning double play started by Reyes, 6-4-3 on the 6-11. Phillies can't get out of their own way. They did manage a hit that time, but again, it's erased by a pitcher pitcher-induced double play. So here we go. Jose Reyes, top of the order against Moyer. 5-2. He's batting from the right. Oh, boy. Ground ball to Ryan Howard. This could be an adventure. A 4 range and an E20 for Ryan Howard, if you can see it right here on the card. A 15. He's got a chance to make the play on this, I think. 4 and 15. That's a G2. And then the 20 and a 10. He might get away with it. No, it's an error. Howard bobbles it. It comes out of his glove, and he just can't make the play. So now Speedy Reyes at first. They're going to have to hold him on. Ryan Church, they're going to hit and run for Ryan Church here. He's a B. And then a 7. The 2 means we look off of the hit and run chart. 2 and so then a 7, and he's a B because normally a C, but with the runner held on, he's a B. So batter misses pitch. So that means Reyes has the steal. Now what we need to do is we had to figure out if Reyes gets a good jump or not. And he did not, so we're going to go off of the second number. The 15, now it's +2, so that's 17, and then it's -4. So 1 to 13 chance. And Reyes is caught stealing by Coast. Coast with a great throw. And that hit and run does not work out well for the Mets as he swings through it. Oh, okay. So Baseball Demo says that there's some good audiences for the History Maker. Well, we'll see. Maybe I'll have to think twice about that. So Ryan Church still at the plate, and that's a 1-7. Ground ball to second base, 4-3. It would have been a double play in any regard. So that's why you hit and run. Actually, I didn't need to roll the D20 on that one since the runner was nullified. David Wright, 2 outs. 5-2, another play for Ryan Howard to make. He booted the first one, and he's not going to be able to get to the second one. And it's a rare play. So 4-6 is a single. Now a single 1 with the rare play. Runner on first base. The batter hits a line drive, which hits the runner. No, there's no runner, so that's a single. No rare play. So David Wright, he's going to try to get a good lead here. And an 8 does not do the job. So Beltran with 2 outs. 3-6 and 3-6, a 1-4 single. 1-4, and it's an 8. He grounds out to Utley. And the caught stealing with a lefty is a 2-6. He throws down to Bruntlett. So, still no runs in the game. Scoreless affair through 2.5. And we will see if the Phillies can open the scoring here. Bottom of the order. Hi, Mr. Utah Mike. Well, I'll tell you, Dave S. So I'm reading some of the comments from Dave S. there about he's trying cold snap football, which is from Play. I guess I don't know if that's how you say it. It's playwith2as.com. It's History Maker Baseball's cousin in the football realm. I will say History Maker, it is a very intriguing game. It's the type of game that is, I would say, is built for a guy like me, which is a guy who enjoys I like Stratomatic too, but there's something about seeing it unfold in a way that's maybe even less predictable than. I feel like Strat's predictable in that you're probably going to get the rolls in the right proportions, and sure, in the other game you will as well, but it's just a little. Everything has to kind of like come together in various ways, and I don't know. It's interesting. I mean, anybody who is interested in seeing History Maker, if you haven't seen, just go to Baseball Demos. He's got series with it, and it uses a book instead of card. Well, it has cards, but you need to use the book too, and it has like a set of scenarios that follows. Some roles, the pitcher's attributes come through and shine through. Some roles, they won't, and they'll end up being on the hitter to come through. There are some times when they kind of factor in the luck of the situation, or not the luck, but the sort of the momentum of the situation, where I think other games sort of, there's really none of that in Strat. You really have no chance of like hot and cold and stuff like that. And there's a storyline involved in a lot of cases. If you really want to incorporate that aspect, you can build a storyline with the front office having a say in things and all sorts of interesting stuff. Anyway, Eric Bruntlett, I got to get this game done because dinner's going to be before too long. 411 against a righty, ballpark single. So that's not likely. 25% chance. And that is going to be a line out to Reyes for the first out. Brings up Mr. Jamie Moyer, the ageless wonder. 2-9, and with the one card, that is a ground ball to first. Almost got the magic walk. 2 down. What I mean by the magic walk, that's what I consider on the number 1 card. You get that 2-10, that is the magic walk. That is, the pitcher has lost all control. So Taguchi, 3-9. That's not going to be good. That's going to be a ground ball back to the pitcher. And I can see So Taguchi taking an 0 for 4 in this game for sure. Am I a home run king? I forget what I am. Semi-home run king. Yep. It's just interesting the way it shapes up, and I feel like there's even more play in it as far as like you're not going to have guys every year reproduce the same numbers, and I don't know, maybe in Strat if you play a full season they're not going to, but I feel like the chances in Strat of that happening are going to be a lot better than maybe in the other game. So we got Carlos Delgado leading off the 4th. No score going to 4. The ballpark effects are having their way with this, with the weather effects at least. 1-9. And that is a long drive. 1-11. Delgado gets a big piece of it, and it is gone. That is the first run of the ball game. Delgado, a solo dinger. And Moyer just looks at it and sees it fly over that right field wall. Angel Pagan, 1-0 Mets, 5-8. Batting from the right side, and that is trouble. 1-2 is a triple. That's a 15, so a single. And 2 hits in a row for the Mets. Leave the Phillies in trouble. They're definitely going to have to hold Pagan on. He's going to try to get a good lead. Actually, with Schneider at the plate. Lefty. They're going to hit and run. A hit and run chance. But it's a 4-7. Comes off of Moyer's card. 4-7. That's a strikeout. But in hit and run cases off the pitcher's card, a strikeout with an A is a ground ball to a first base. with the runner advancing. So that is going to be a, we'll say 3-1 with the runner on the move. And we're going to put that as a 7. So it moves Schneider into scoring position, or Pagan into scoring position, sorry. Yeah, I know that, Larry. Yeah, Luis Castillo. Thought about, well, there's a 2 on the D20. So, re-roll the D6. It's a 5, so that could be a passed ball. That comes off, but Coast cannot get a passed ball. So, we re-roll it without the D20. 3-9. Ground ball to second base. C, the runner moves up. Could have thought about trying to steal with Pagan there, but instead, that's going to bring up 2 outs with Perez at the plate. Perez hoping for a pitcher's card roll, and he gets it, 4-7. But that's a strikeout. Wait, against the lefty. No, against the lefty, it's a fly ball to center. And that will be it. They do get 1 run on the home run. Wait a second. Whoa. Did I miss that? With Pagan there. But instead, that's going to bring up 2 outs with Perez at the plate. Perez hoping for a pitcher's card roll, and he gets it, 4-7. But that's a strikeout. All right, I missed something. The D20 has a 2 on it. So, we still have to roll here. Potential balk, but Moyer is a 0. So we've got to re-roll the 3. So this may change the outcome. We'll see. 3-7, ground ball to second base. Still the final out, but so nothing really changes much, but the strike, the fly ball turns to a ground ball, and it gave the Mets another shot to possibly score that run, which they didn't really need at this point, but I wouldn't want to have someone accuse me of cheating them out of an opportunity. So, because that's not what I'm about anyway, and you all know that. All right, Jason Worth. Bottom of the 4th, 1-0 Mets. He has not had an at-bat yet, 4-6 against a righty. And another walk, still does not have an at-bat. Well, so they're going to have to hold Worth on. And the Phillies, they're going to try hitting and running here with the lefty Utley up. A hit and run. And that is a 2-10. That's not a good roll. For an A, pop out to second base. That is that's with 2 outs as well. That was probably not a great choice. But it would have been a ground ball double play if I hadn't done it. So, anyway. Let's see. Worth at first. Let's try to get the good lead. We're willing to take that chance now. It's a 9, so no good lead. Ryan Howard, 2 outs. Worth at first. All right, so 1-0 still. Going to the top of the 5th. Yeah, I'm going to try going into a bit of... I'm going to try kicking it along here a bit. So, as Larry says in the comments, I need to make sure I get this done before dinner. And so Reyes leads off for the 3rd time. 5-3. He's batting from the right side. Ground ball to pitcher. That's Moyer. 3E15. So it's G2 and 8 with an E15. And that's the first out. Reyes hustles it down but cannot beat the throw. Ryan Church, Mr. Philly killer so far, 1-9 strikeout without an injury. He'll get injured at some point here, but not in this game. David Wright, trying to avoid that 2 column, and that's a 2-4. That is long, and that is gone. Another home run. A no-doubter. 2-0 Mets as the 2-4. I was just about to say the Phillies need to avoid that 2 column of Wright, and it bites them right where it counts. So 2-0 Moyer giving up the long bombs. Carlos Beltran 3-2 and a walk. That's never good. He's going to try to get a lead, and he doesn't get it. So Delgado, he already has hit a home run in this game. It's a 4-12 against a lefty. And that is trouble. 1-11. This could be another home run on the 4-12 against a lefty, if you can see that on Moyer's card. This could be a 4-0 game. 1-11. It's long, and it is gone. Delgado with a big game. The Mets hitters just love Citizens Bank Park at this point, and the Phillies are just powerless against this team. Angel Pagan now, 1 for 2, 4-4 against a righty. Ground ball to short. It's going to be Bruntlett, 321. And another rare play. And a 2. Just keeps getting worse for the Phillies here. 3-2, single 2, and then with the rare play roll. Hits a single with base runners advancing 2 bases. No advance. As batter rounds first, fielder throws behind him and catches him off the bag for an out. We've already had that one before. We'll take it as a single. But actually, we will say 6-2. We'll say that Bruntlett knocked it down, I guess. Anyway, it's kind of an annoying rare play because it doesn't quite give you enough information to piece it together. You have to sort of piece it together yourself. All right, we're going to go to the bottom of the 5th here. 4-0 Mets. I don't know if Status Pro is still around. I would imagine somebody like Baseball Demos would have more information on Status Pro. So Pat Burrell, Mets are the nemesis of the Phillies right now. 4-12 against a righty. Perez, I think we already had the 4-12 roll. That's a ground ball to first. That's Delgado. Delgado, a 4-E9. And there's a 1. That's going to help the Phillies. That's a single 2, and then the 10 on the E9. That shouldn't be an error. It's not. So a single for Burrell. He won't be held on. Pedro Feliz, he singled and was forced out at second on a double play ball. Oh boy, that's the way it's going. Missing the, there we go. So 6-8 against a righty. Strikeout. 1 down. Chris Coast. 6-7 against a righty. Ground ball to second. Second base, Luis Castillo, 3E13, and they're not holding Burrell on. Another 1, wow. That's going to help the Phillies. That's going to be a single 2, so 2-base advance. Then you got 10 with an E13. No error, but Burrell will be able to move up to third with less than 2 outs. The Phillies have a chance to score a run here. Maybe even walk themselves into a big inning if they can catch a break. But again, they have guys coming up who are not, you know, Moyer. This will be his. He's gonna be done most likely. So Bruntlett, first and third. Coast. As you can see, that's kind of a 1-8. Draws a walk. That'll load the bases, and that's going to be it for Moyer. Moyer is going to be pinch hit for. He goes 5 innings and faces 24 hitters, and they're going to bring in, well, with the bases loaded and 1 out, they're thinking they might as well, let's see, against a lefty, what are they going to do? They really only have one play with the bases loaded, and that is Jimmy Rollins. So Rollins against Perez, bases loaded. And here we go. They're going to play the infield at double play depth. They're looking for 2 to get out of this inning. That's a 5-10, and he's batting from the right, and he just misses a big one. 5-10, catcher X. That's Schneider. So let's see, catcher X. Schneider 3E2. And a big number, that may help the Phillies. Let's see. E2, 3 and 18. That's a big number, doesn't help there. That's G3. That could be bad. But now let's see the catcher. He's an E2 and a 16. And it does not quite get the error. So G3 is, I think that might be a double play ball. G3 with, wait, no. G3 base is loaded. No infield in. Run advance. Batter's out. So the only play is at first. Rollins is thrown out at first. Burrell scores. And so the inning will continue. Rollins has his token appearance, and here comes So Taguchi, who, if he could come up with a big hit here, that would be a huge surprise. And another 1-9. I feel like we've hit 1-9 before for him. The one column is dead to the world, and that's a fly ball to right. That'll end the inning. They do bring it back a run, but they are already to their bullpen, and we're going to have to make a change. Yep, Utah Mike, they won 4-2. You can see it right up here. Yep, it's 4-1 right now. But given the way the Mets have been hitting, I don't know. We'll see. Let's see. Only Condrey pitched last time, so let's go with, what is this, the 6th inning. And they have Schneider, Castillo. It's kind of early to use their lefty specialist. We're going to use Cianez right now to start. So we're going to go with Rudy. And kind of running out of room here for this chart. I like to have it showing there, but it's kind of... tough to find room. I guess what I could do at some point is try to put it on the sheet like that, but all right. So Brian Schneider, lefty against righty Cianez. So we go over to the right side of the card now. 2-8. And that's a high pop-up that Mr. Ryan Howard gets, and that is one down. Luis Castillo. He was hit by a pitch, and he grounded out. 6-8, if you can see that there. 6-8. He's batting from the left this time. Strikes him out. That's 2 outs. And the pitcher card, Perez, he's still up for more here, I think. 3-5. Ground ball to short. Bruntlett throws to first. Cianez pitches a clean 6th. I'm going to put Moyer on my discard pile for just a second here. I think we'll have Cianez pitch another inning since he went so quickly. All right. So Perez back out to the mound. And I got to get everything in the frame here. Okay. Jason Worth has yet to make an at bat, as he walked both times he's been up. 4-7 against a righty, and guess what? Another walk. At least he's a leadoff hitter this time, so you get the full effect of it, as opposed to every other time he's been hitting behind Taguchi, and he ends up with at least I think I messed something up there. Boy, I got sidetracked. Oh, my word. Look at that. Look at that. That's horrible. That is just horrible, Earl. That has to be one of the most horrible innings I've ever seen. That's about the worst you can do. Look at this third inning. Line 6. U3, 1-3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. I'm just trying to make sure I didn't miss a line somewhere. So second inning, third inning. Yeah, I missed an out somewhere. I messed up. There should have been a line here. So that's where I messed up. Boy. I'm going to have to take that run off the board for the Phils. Umpire made a mistake. Well, you know what we'll do? I'm going to call it a caught stealing. Tough. Chase Utley. I'm not worried about it. So basically, it looked like I had 5 outs in an inning, but instead what happened was I forgot to mark the line. So I remember when Worth walked, I was like, that was a leadoff walk. But then I saw there was no line, and so I was like 1 out. So then I did 2-3 and cut it off, and there's 1 left. So I'm just going to say Worth was caught stealing and call it good. So, and here I'll roll the D20 just to prove it. Air 11. There's no way he didn't get a good lead, and but anyway, that was in a previous roll. Let's see. We're going to try hitting and running with Utley here again. They have to hold Worth on. And it's a 1 on the D20. so there's no hit and run at the moment. That's a wild pitch attempt or chance, and it's a 1-10. Yeah, baseball demos. It's I don't know what happened there. Well, I know what happened, but I don't know why I forgot to do that. So 1-10, and it's a 9. Worth will move up. So no need to hit and run now. Chase Utley. 4-12 against a lefty. Ground ball to first. That's probably going to move the runner up to third. At the very least, it could be a single. We'll see. Delgado, a 4-E9. 4 and a 15. That won't move the runner up. Well, that will move the runner up, but it won't score anybody. G2 and 10. Well, E9 and 10. No error. The G2, I believe that's a runner advanced with a runner at second. Yeah, because it's to the right of the diamond, it's going to move the runner up. We'll make it a 3-1. No, it's okay, Larry. I know exactly what happened. I just... bonehead move. Ryan Howard, runner at third, 3-11, ballpark single. That would score a run if you can get a 1-8 with a lefty at the plate. But it's a 13. It's going to be a line out to Castillo. Now it's going to be up to Pat Burrell. 2 outs. 6-10 against a righty, strikes him out, and that will be it. So, no runs. Cianez back out for another go-around. Yeah, I'm going to just put this... I'm going to put the defense card up top here so I have plenty of room to move over here. Kind of like having it there. I like the score sheets that have that little diamond on there. But that's neither here nor there. Phillies are now dissonant. Jose Reyes, 5-10. They're feeling dissonant, I'm pretty sure. So Cianez lefty. So Reyes from the left side against a righty. 5-10. Shortstop X Bruntlett back at it with his 3E21. But it's going to be an 18, which should be fine. And 11, which should be fine, even with the E21, and it is. So Reyes 0 for 4. So complaining about the Phillies leadoff hitting, well, Reyes has not exactly lit it up here. Ryan Church 0 for 3 himself, 4 of 3 against a lefty. That's a fly ball to right. Taguchi is 3E17 out there in right field, shagging flies, and a 3. That is going to be trouble. That is a double, as you can see here on the 3. With a 3 is a double. And let's see, with the E17... 9 and 3 is 12. That's an E2. So a double 2 and an E2. Batter to third. Double E9. Taguchi strikes again. Runner at third. Less than 2 outs. David Wright. Got some bombs here already. Got one from him, 5-2, and this is on a leaner there. Going to re-roll the D20 real quick. Looked like it could have been a 2, but it was leaning. So 5-2 against a righty. Fly ball to center field. See, it's a shallow fly that will help the Phillies as Worth comes in and is able to give it a heave and makes Church decide to stand back. And Carlos Beltran now needs a hit to bring this run home. 6-6 He's batting from the left, 6-6, and that's a single. That will score the run. RBI for Beltran, and Cienez gives up a run. It's now 5-1. So no more chance of the exact score, but that's okay. We still have a chance at the exact spread. Beltran, try to get him a lead here. Doesn't get it. Let's see. Cienez with a +9. Coast a +2. So you +5 is the most. So that's 7 minus 4 is 13. Beltran's going to try to steal off of the poor lead. 1-13. Makes it. Carlos Delgado, they're going to walk him. They want no part of giving up another home run to that guy. And so Angel Pagan, 6-11. He's batting from the left. Ground ball to second base. And he'll just take it to first. Another run as the Phillies use some strategy to further or prevent any further damage. Let's see. Phillies are going to get Chad Durbin ready to rock and roll in the pen. That's going to be it for Cienez. Phillies are going to come back. Yeah, they're going to have to do something at some point. I mean, they can't keep losing to the Mets here. Perez back out there for the 7th. This will probably be it for him. Feliz, 6-8 against a righty. Strikes him out. Feliz, 2 Ks. Not a good day for him. Does have 1 hit, though. Chris Coast, another 6-8. Another strikeout. Eric Bruntlett, 3-5. That's a fly ball to right. That'll be the 3rd out as Ryan Church makes that catch. Going to the 8th, the Phillies, they're going to have to make a double switch here. They're going to bring in Durbin. And what they're going to do is they're going to move, much as it's probably not the greatest moves, because they definitely want Durbin to pitch 2 innings unless they hit all the way around. They're going to move Feliz to shortstop. He is rated for short, although he's not particularly good. They're going to bring in Ruiz. To catch, or wait. Let me see. Which one is third base? You know what we could do? Yeah, we're going to bring in Ruiz. Ruiz is, he can play third base some, so he's actually going to play third. Oh, and I should have put this here probably first. So we're going to put a Z for, I forgot to put down, oh, yeah, I want to do this. I meant to say I was going to start doing the letters over here instead. So now you go Y for, it's going to be Durbin. So, and so I got to get this down. We got to do a little bit of, I never fixed this either. Might as well just do do away with all this and just put Durbin stuff down here. So Durbin, he is 2E0. Ruiz is going to come in. And he is 5E37. And I'm going to put Feliz over here to short. And Feliz, I think he might be a 4E48. So we are getting experimental with this lineup and this defensive posture. But this late in the game with the need for runs, they're left to try something. They could still use Dobbs as another pinch hitter potentially. But I don't know. They want the Mets to bring in a righty, maybe, to use Dobbs. So Brian Schneider will lead off here against Durbin. 6-6 against a lefty single. Luis Castillo. He's going to be up there bunting. They're half expecting it, so a B and a 9. B because they're expecting it. They had the corners in. B9, that's a sacrifice that is good. It's going to be a 5-4. Move the runner up. They were expecting to pinch hit for Perez, and they're going to. So let's see who are they going to bring in against Durbin. I'm going to bring in Damian Easley to pinch hit. Got a couple of lefties, but they're gonna go with Easley. He's okay there against the right-hander. So here comes Easley against Durbin. Runner at second. And there's a 2 on the D20. So we have to roll the D6. Potential passed ball. Coast still behind the plate. No passed ball rating. So just roll them again. 2-7. And a 2-7. That is going to score the run. As I guess I do a pretty good job of managing the Mets here. 9. That's a single. 2 stars. RBI for Damian Easley. And we're going to the 5th time around here. Jose Reyes still has a chance at a hit to get it to 200 for the day. 5-11 against a lefty. Fly ball to right field. X. Taguchi again. A nightmare out there. 3-5. Boy, this game is going to take forever. 3-5. Boy, that's a single. And then 15 on the E. What is that? E17 and 15. That can't be good. Wow, get away with it. Boy, I thought that was going to be... That's a single. 2 stars. 1st and 3rd. Durbin in trouble now. Ryan Church. 2-10. Ground ball to shortstop. And with 1 out, that will... Are they playing with the infield in? They have to be playing with the infield in. Should be corners in. I would say corners in. No, I would say infield in. All right, let me see. What was the roll? 2-10. Ground ball shortstop A with the infield in. So let's go through this. 1st and 3rd. A, infield in. 8. Batter out. Runner on 3rd holds. Runner on 1st advances to 2nd. All right, so that's going to be a 6-3. Not able to get the runner going up to second. So now second and third, 2 outs. They're going to pitch to David Wright here. .412 against a righty. Fly ball to right. All right, that'll be it. I thought it was going to get out of hand there, but they only get 1 run in the process. I thought having the infield being brought in might have cost the Phillies there, but instead it's okay. So bottom of the 8th, Ruiz will be hitting, and now the Mets have to go to their bullpen. It is 3, 4, 5, 6-1. They're going to use Carlos Muniz. A little different name here. I feel like with a lead, we have a chance to see somebody different. Perez, 7 innings. 26 batters. Kind of a short evening for him. And they're just going to hit Muniz in this spot here. Actually, that's a Z for him. All right. So, as you can see, I'll lift that up because you can't really see it very well. Got one of the computer-generated cards. So, righty against Carlos Ruiz. 5-7. He's batting from the right. 5-7. That is a strikeout with a dot. But he's not tired, so that's the first out. So Taguchi. 2-9. And that's a triple for Taguchi. He hits one into the corner. It rattles around. Fumbled around there a bit by Ryan Church. And that's going to be a triple for Taguchi. So finally, he puts one in play. And that is going to be helpful for the Phillies here. Jason Worth. 1 out. They're just playing with the infield back. 5-4 against a righty. And that is a ballpark single chance. 1-5. To 17. That's a line out to short. That's the second out. 2 down, Chase Utley. That's a 5-8 against a lefty. Draws a walk. Brings up the howitzer, Ryan Howard. 2 away, 1 runners at first and third. 3-7. That's a strikeout. That'll end the inning. Muniz comes in and pitches a clean 8th, and we're going to go to the 9th. Try to get this game seized up. Durbin will pitch another inning, even though he gave up a run. Beltran, the batter. Hi, Bob Borowick. Hi, Steve Ryan. Hi, Al, Red Sox fan. I guess I didn't say hi to any of yous. I apologize for that. Thanks for showing up here. I know it's late in the game, and this is getting a little bit... It's not quite out of hand, but it's definitely... Seems like the Phillies have been mastered from the get-go of this game. Beltran against Durbin. 3-6. Draws a walk. 6-1, Mets lead here in the top of the 9th. They have to hold Beltran on. They're going to hit and run. They're going to do a little bit of fun games here. So a 2 with a B on the hit and run. 3 means we look off the chart. B2, double 3 stars. How about that? Played to perfection. Double for Delgado. He now has 2 home runs and a double. That's going to score Beltran. And it's now 7-1. Chad Durbin is going to... They're going to keep him going here. So Delgado at second. Nobody out. Pagan 5-3. Batting from the left. Ballpark single. 1-8. And it's a 14 line out to Utley. That'll be the first out. Brian Schneider. Trying to wrap this up, guys. I don't foresee any miracles here for the Phillies. 3-12. Ground ball to shortstop. Runner can't move up on that as it's an A ball. 2 down. Luis Castillo. 6-7. He's batting from the left side. 6-7. Ground ball to second base. Utley 2. E14. 2-9. They did wait, do they have to hold Delgado on? I don't think they do. Delgado, he's a big guy. They wouldn't be holding him on. So it's still 2E14. 2-9. That's an F. Oh, wait, no, wrong page. That's a G2. And then the 12 on the E14. No error. That'll end the inning. So Durbin kind of makes a meal of those 2 innings in a way, but it's all right. He was eating up a little bit of garbage time there for him. And so the Mets, they're gonna, let's see. Mets, they're gonna make a double switch here, just for old time's sake. They're not gonna pitch Muniz here in the bottom of the 9th. With so what do they have? Burrell, Felice, Coast. So all righties. They're gonna go with Aaron Hutt. Actually, no, we'll go with Jorge Sosa. Probably no real reason to double switch besides they're going to bring in a better glove in left. So Muniz pitches an inning, 5 batters. And so Pagan, he's going to come in, not Pagan, Andy Chavez, he's going to come in and play left field. And he is a 1E2 out there with a -2 arms, so he is... Oops, I forgot to put the... Forgot to put his name there so I can remember that. But, yeah, so Chavez, that's going to be an upgrade over Angel Pagan. So Pagan out of there. Chavez in. Actually... Chavez goes at the top of the deck in case the Phillies figure out a way to come back. And Jorge Sosa out there to try and pitch the 9th. Burrell at the plate against the righty. Yeah, I really, it's tough to focus on anything other than this game when you're playing in Super Advanced. 5-9 against a righty. Pop out to the shortstop, and that'll be the first out. 1 for 4 for Burrell on the day. Pedro Felice, he is also 1 for 3 entering this at bat. 6-3 against a righty. Fly ball to left field X, and guess what? We made that switch for Chavez, and now it looks like that's a 1E2. Looks like a... Although a 20, it wouldn't have mattered. You could have had me out there playing left, and that would be an out. I believe. Yep. So that's an F3, and then 11 on the E2 is absolutely no problem. So Chris Coast. Let's see. You know what? They're kind of short-handed, but they figure what the heck. They're not coming back anyway. Let's not worry about defense. Against a righty, Chris Snelling. 2 outs. We're gonna pull this. So he's pinch hitting for Coast. Chris Snelling against a righty. It is a 3-8. 3-8. And that is a fly ball to center. And that is going to be the end of the game. Snelling has yet to get a hit on that juiced up card. And no runs in the bottom of the ninth for the Phillies. 1-2-3, no hits in that. And it's 7-1 is your final here at Citizens Bank Park. Hour and 22 minutes here on the game. Yeah, they look good. I think that I know that they're difficult to discern. So you see, where was it? Oh, so Snelling, the fly ball center field with a question mark. That's a B question mark, not an X. But yeah, I like the way they print out. I mean, they are a little, whatever it is, Courier as far as the font goes or whatever, but machine looking. But that's okay. It's nice to have players that you can use that are actual players that they have on their roster, because otherwise, Snelling, I'd have to go looking for somebody that has a similar attribute, and that's time that you don't really want to have to spend if you don't have to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 by my count. 12 hits for the Mets. 1, 2, 3, 4 hitter for Perez and the Mets here against the Phillies. Phillies struggle to get men on base. They did have Worth got on base 3 times and failed to score in any of the times out there. That's and Utley walked twice as well, but Howard with an 0 for 4 and an inning-ending double play there too. Burrell 1 for 3, not so great. Let's see, there was an error on... Actually, there were 2 errors for the Phillies, one on Howard and one on Sotaguchi. And I don't believe the Mets picked up any. They were clean. Left on base, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it looks like. For the Phillies, 1. He was caught stealing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would have been a pretty big stretch for the Phillies to get anything out of this game. They were outplayed by the Mets here, and so that's what they've been doing. So real quick before I sign off, it was a good game. You can't, I'll tell you what, if I there was a period of time, and I may still get frustrated at one point or another with how they play, but it's history, and it's trying to emulate history, and maybe these Mets cards are a little. It could be that they're a little better. It could be that they haven't hit injuries that they hit later on in their pitching staff or something. I don't know. I haven't taken a close look. I know Ryan Church has been very hot, and I don't think he's that way the whole season. I keep getting closer and closer to having my next, not my next, but the project that's going to be concurrent. another tenacious league. I have the teams. I'm trying to... What's taking the time is I'm trying to be a little more thoughtful as far as player usage. And so I'm doing research to try and piece together sort of the way that the roster should be lined up. Because I'm going to be using injuries, and I want to make sure that I'm bringing in players that were available to each team at the time that we're going to do it. So I'm taking 162 and condensing it into 54 again. And so you don't want to use somebody at the beginning of the season that they didn't have because he was traded at the deadline or something, and that's when they got him and all that kind of stuff. So in my first one, that's one of the things that I eventually realized. I kind of knew that when I started, but it annoyed me more and more as I went along, is that like a team like the Brewers had guys that weren't on the team that had started the season. And so you end up seeing at-bat figures and, plate appearance figures that are way off the chart for certain players like Jason Rogers with that team in particular, because and it already gets kind of messed up because we're using DH, and I'm going to stick with that. So you're not going to be able to be exact, but I'd like to be closer than I was this time and give each team its players as they had them in the season. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to pull it together into a spreadsheet that allows me to see what's in front of me. It gives me, and because I have the 2016 season on the computer, I can bring up any player. So I could bring up anybody that's played for them. So I can have depth off of the computer cards that I wouldn't have had in the first one, which should be nice. I can bring up, a guy who spent a lot of time in the minors but came up for, 10 to 12 games. They didn't print a card for him, but, I can get that card and use it. So that's exciting to me to be able to have that kind of ability. So I'm in the midst of doing that. It's taken some time because it's just me being very analytical. That's the way it goes. But I want to be able to use injuries on the cards. This pitcher injury stuff has also been, they have a new system, which I kind of like, but it worries me because I just have to figure out how I'm going to account for those, because you get afraid. The thing that you have to remember is that each pitcher, each starting pitcher is probably going to average 30 rolls per game. And so if you hit a 612 is like 0.45% chance. So, you're talking, I think, 1 every 7 games if you go by 30 rolls of the dice that count. Give or take a few. That's what you end up having is, I think, probably every 7 games you're going to hit that. So I have to figure out if I'm going to add another roll in there to sort of bridge over to say, okay, we hit the key mark that they have to initiate it. Now, do I want to have like a 1 to 10? He stays in 10 to 11 to 20. We do the next injury roll to see the duration, because I'm just afraid there's going to be too many injuries like we had before. But again, it gives you the chance to use some players that you didn't normally see. But there are teams that, the nice thing and the way it's shaping up is that there are some teams that used a lot of players. Usually those are the crappy teams, but it's not always the case. But then there are also some teams that used very, very few players compared to others. So you stand the opportunity to get sort of screwed over if too many guys get injured and you don't really have depth because they didn't card enough players. So, but anyway, of course I can dig up some, but again, I hate to overuse, especially if the card is extremely good. Why would you want to overuse a card that's not realistic? So, I know, yeah, Al, I've been digging that thing over and over again. Boy, it is, but it's it wears on you after a while looking at that site. Because, I'm trying to go through, pitching logs, trying to decipher how many, which pitchers were used when, and, because it's really kind of difficult to, you literally either have to use, the pitching log that is on their site on a game-by-game basis per team it's not optimal. So then you have to kind of go in, you look at that, but then you also have to go into each individual pitcher's log and take a look at when. But the other thing I'm doing is I'm like looking at minor league baseball, the MILB site, to try and find out if some of these marginal players were with the team, with the minor league team all year. I'm also not accounting for injuries. So I want to honor at bats and walks. Like I don't want to overuse a player. That's one thing. I'll give myself a little bit of a margin for that. But number two, I want to make sure that I don't rule a player out for a period of time just because he's injured. So if a guy is a starter, so let's say in the case of this Phillies 2008 replay, let's say that this was the team we're talking about, because I don't want to reveal the teams too soon. Jimmy Rollins is injured for this. But I don't want to say that he's injured in the season because I'm going to be having these injury rolls, and it could happen at any time. He's going to get injured. So, I don't want to factor that in because then I'm going to come up short on my at-bats, on plate appearances, at-bats and walks. It's going to come up short if I say, okay, I'm going to keep him out from April 21st to May 4th, that he really was. And then I'm going to keep doing these injury rolls. He's going to catch injury rolls. So instead, I want to have a set of backup players that will, for instance, Eric Bruntlett and whatnot. Anyway, I got to get going. So, but that's what I'm going through. So take it easy. Strat on, guys. Phillies lose 7-1.